For example, a few years ago I hired a professional dancer for almost 8 years, 9 years, to come in and work with the mathematics and dance. And somebody say, well, why would math and dance go together? Well, they do. And there's so many ways to connect that to the program, whether it is in dance or to math. And I have students that have come back and said, Mr. Lang, I went and saw a performance in New York, and all I could see was the math. I don't know why, but I thought of that first before I even looked at the beauty of the dance. So, you know. And then the other thing that we do also is now we're doing fractals, where we take Jackson Pollock's paintings, and look at the fractalness, which is a dimension, you know, another dimension in between dimensions. That's why it's called a fractal. And we look at that, and we develop art and mathematics with that, and that's what we're doing now.
So what Bernstein has meant to me in terms of my teaching is I feel like it's allowed me to take concepts or big ideas or questions that really interest me, and it has allowed me to think about them on a deeper level, and so that is one really satisfying on an intellectual level. It allows for us to collaborate with our coworkers, and so through those conversations with my coworkers, if I'm planning a unit with someone, is we can get even more in depth into a topic, and then what's particularly valuable is then you work together to find a way to take these really deep concepts and make them accessible to students.
My name's Craig Parrott. I teach 8th grade Earth Science here at Jackson Middle School, and I'm a big fan of the Bernstein Learning Model here at our school. It gives kids a common language, so when they come into Earth Science, and maybe we're talking about transitions or change, they can bring in things from social studies, from language arts, from art class, from math, and begin to explain things like global warming, example of a transition happening on our planet right now, and they can explain how it applies to other topics that they've studied in other classes. So we also can bring in things like music and art to give kids another layer of complexity when they're explaining science concepts, for example. I have a background in music, I have a music degree, and I've always wondered how could I integrate music into my teaching. And Bernstein gives me that opportunity to integrate art into my classroom and show how seemingly random, unconnected topics like the Civil Rights Movement and a jam from a jazz musician and global warming can all be interconnected. So kids talking about metaphors and making connections to things that seem very, very separate are building higher level thinking skills. And I haven't found anything else that's as effective as the Bernstein Learning Model has been for me.
One of the many beauties of the Bernstein structure is that it accommodates students from all walks of life. We have a variety of students here, highly accomplished students, talented and gifted, and we have students who are coming from refugee camps in Somalia and Kenya, and sometimes it's really difficult as a teacher to make sure that you're meeting all of those students' needs. So when I've done Bernstein projects, art is a language that all of these kids can understand and speak and relate to. And it really allows the kids to all share the same understanding of this really complex idea and challenges them at whatever level they need to be challenged at.
I'm just finishing my 15th year of teaching at Jackson Middle School, and I cannot tell you how lucky I feel to have been able to work at a school that was, at the time that I started, implementing its second year of artful learning. What artful learning has allowed me to do is to take those ideas and dedicate myself to expanding what I'm capable of as a teacher. It was difficult for me to wrap my head around all the components of the complex animal project. But now that I'm 15 years in, if I had only been doing what I was capable of year one, I wouldn't be growing as an educator, and it wouldn't still be fresh. So what you see behind me is the mural that my class made this year, connected to the Artful Learning project called the Biome Project, which is the old animal project, but on steroids. And it's fully interconnected across every content area that 6th graders teach, including maths, science obviously, language arts, social studies, health. It's all woven in together.
Ready? Okay. The Bernstein curriculum allows us to take something like in our math content and put it into another realm. For instance, in the arts. I mean, who'd have thunk that math and the arts go together? Well, they do. And it's like, I call it the Velcro hook. You give them something in math to hold on to, and you relate it to something in art. And then when they see it again, this hook comes back and grabs them, and they go, aha! And they can relate it to other things in other contents. That's what it is. It's about interconnectedness between different subjects.